Hello. Um, I wanted to make a video of this. I actually wanted to write it, but I realized that I would be losing something, and it's really difficult for me to write anything and type anything out right now because of my vision loss. But I wanted to share a story with you that I found to be incredibly profound. It was probably it is the most profound experience that's ever happened to me, that I've ever experienced. So exactly 3 weeks ago, I had the absolute worst hemorrhage in both eyes, and I had since all this started about 2.5 years ago. And it came on the tail end of another really bad hemorrhage. So I ended up having to go to the emergency room, but I actually decided to take a bus and to take public transportation. I didn't know how else to do this, and I didn't really want to ask anybody, because one thing that I've really struggled with is really telling people how bad my vision was getting. I didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I didn't really, and I pretend a lot that I can see. Right now I can't see myself in this video. I haven't seen myself clearly in the mirror for about 2 years. And so this is why my eyes wander, so please excuse that. And when I talk to people, I know where their face is. So I look in the general area of where their eyes is so that they don't know that I can't see them. And it's very difficult for me to ask for help. So 3 weeks ago, I had this bad hemorrhage, and I got myself dressed. I got on the bus, and I asked for directions. And what was interesting is that at every step of the way, there was someone there to help me. Every single step of the way, every question I got off the bus, there was somebody there to guide me to the train station and to tell me what train to get on. And so I went to Parkland, and as I was leaving to go, I was being sent to the emergency room. I walked out. I walked off the shuttle after, they told me which shuttle to take to get to the emergency room, and I got off the shuttle, and I remember seeing that there were cars zooming past me, and someone took my arm and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm blind. I need to get to the emergency room." And she said, "I will help you." She was a security guard, and she helped me all the way until she took me to the front desk, and I was safe. So after the doctor saw me, they wanted me to come back the next day to see a specialist. So as nervous as I was, I had to get there. I couldn't really see anything, but the same thing happened. I got on the bus, and I said to the bus driver, "I need to get to Parkland, and I can't see." And then I hear a voice saying, "I'm going to Parkland, I can help you." And I looked, and I couldn't really see who was sitting there, but I knew that they were in a wheelchair, and it was a man. And I said thank you, and I sat there, and I was quiet it was like about an hour ride to get to the train station that I needed to get to. And I got off, and he got off, and we walked together, and he showed me exactly where to go and how to get there. And I sat down, and then he sat across from me, and I was sitting like where the handicap area was, and his chair was strapped in. And I said, "Oh, the bus driver, I didn't get a ticket for whatever reason. Oh, I didn't have change or something." So the bus driver didn't have me get a ticket, and I said, "Oh, I need a ticket." And he said, "Wait right here." And which was great, because I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't read anything to go buy a ticket. So he went and got a ticket for me. and came back and sat, and we waited for the train to take off, and we started talking, and the train started to go, and we started talking, and I found out that this man was a Vietnam veteran. He told me stories about being there and about watching one of his friends. The commander ordered him to take a shot, and the friend said, no, I got this. And then he got up, and he said the next thing I knew, his friend had been blown into two pieces, and he watched it, and it was like, he couldn't get that out of his mind, and he cried. And then he told me that he would torture people there, and he would get enjoyment of it, and he cried. He said, I was just a kid. He was 17 when he was there, and been living in hell basically since then. And he as we talked, I realized, I got to realize that he was homeless, and the stories he had were quite different from my experiences. The reasons he felt fear and hopelessness and despair were so different from my reasons for feeling this way. But we talked, and it was like an hour and 15 minutes that we were on the train. And I told him my stories, and he asked me about why I had gone blind, and I was telling him, and he cried with me, and we cried together. And at one point, he was talking to me, and telling me how he felt safer being out on the streets. And he said, at least here, he goes, in Vietnam, I knew who the enemy was, and here I don't know. And I feel safer being out there, because I feel like if I'm in a close place, I don't know what's going to come get me. And I looked at him, and I said, do you ever think about dying? I said, do you ever pray for God to take your life? And he said, every day. And on that day, I looked at him and I said, yeah, me too. It was true that day, I could imagine living without my vision, and it's like wearing these dirty, muddy sunglasses and feeling like you can just wipe it off, because you could see something. You can see, you can look off and you can see that there's cars going by, or there's something there, but that you can't quite see. So it is very frustrating, and I can't imagine staying that way for the rest of my life. So I said, yeah, me too. And we cried. We both cried. He told me, he's a heroin addict, and told me that's the only time he doesn't feel pain, but it only lasts about half an hour. And just shared things with me that I could not imagine. And at one point I looked at him, and I could see he had this worn face, and he had these blue eyes. And I understood what it meant to see yourself and also God in somebody else's eyes. Like, I clearly understood that, because I was looking, when he was looking at me and he was talking to me, and I realized he had all these experiences, and I wasn't judging any of it. I didn't think, oh, what a jerk for thinking, for getting enjoyment out of torturing people, or, how sad it must be to think heroin is your answer. I didn't think any of that. I just looked at him as a person having an experience, and that everything he had experienced was for a reason. And maybe I couldn't understand the reason, but I didn't need to understand the reason, because I had my own crap going on, and that's all I needed to understand. And I couldn't understand why I was going through what I was going through. And I realized how he was no different than I am. You know, we had the same emotions for different reasons, but the same fears and the same reasons same thing, disappointments and joy and the things that made him happy. He actually was going to the hospital because his wife had had a heart attack 2 months before, and he cried and told me how much he loved her and how blessed he was because he had found such profound love. And so I did realize that we were the same, just having experiences through different eyes, but I realized how judgmental I was because, and I don't know if maybe some of you remember that I used to do the help with the Christmas for the homeless, and I wanted to go help homeless people and feed them on Christmas and give them gifts and blankets and socks and coffee and food but as embarrassing as it is to say, I felt that I was better because I didn't have that situation and I was there to help them. But see, here I was. This man needed nothing from me. Nothing at all. I needed his help, and he helped me unconditionally. And made it clear to me that he was no different than me, that I was no different from that we were here having this beautiful experience because God willed it so. The universe willed it so, and here we are. And even though it was just a couple of hours of my time here on this planet, that was the most profound meeting of my whole entire life. And it changed my life, I don't know if I'll ever see him again, but if I do, I'm going to go give him a big hug because he really opened my eyes. And what's interesting about that is that I went to go see the doctor afterwards, and I got that great news about I'm going to get the medical treatment that I need to get my vision back. So, although today I still can't see very well, I know that healing is coming. But I really think that this man opened my eyes and saw, I've been seeing a lot about me in the last few months. Things that I didn't know that I was, and that being aware of what I was being, I could change. And those who know me, that have known me even in the last year, have seen I have changed dramatically, even in my physical appearance. And I can't see myself in the mirror, so I'm not wearing makeup anymore because, can't imagine what kind of clown I'd come out looking like. But I'm feeling just much freer of being who I am and just showing up as me unapologetically, and because I have no way of seeing how anybody else is judging me and how anybody else is looking at me, and how yesterday I wore what I wore, all black with my pretty earrings and my pink and white Vans, and I could care less how anybody else saw me. I felt good just being able to express, even though I couldn't see what I was expressing. I knew it was me that I was expressing. So so I got the news about getting all the medical treatment, and I'm okay right now with my vision being the way it is, knowing that it's going to get better. And I think that I did get that good news because that was what I needed to see. That was what God has been trying to tell me this whole time. We are all equal. There is one consciousness expressing and one consciousness experiencing through everyone and everything, and not just people, but animals and trees and plants and water, celestial bodies. It's just one beautiful experience, and I am so happy to be part of it. And I stopped praying for God to take my life. I didn't have the courage to do it myself, and there was two people that have been, you know who you are, have listened to me, and who I've been absolutely 100% real and raw with. And they knew that I felt that way, that I just wanted it all to end. And neither one of them told me I couldn't feel that way. They knew that I didn't have the courage to take my own life, and I don't. But they just listened, and they made it okay for me to feel what I was feeling. And what they did do is, when I would say, what did I do to deserve this, they would stop me, and they would say, it's not about that, and I love you both dearly for listening and allowing me to be so raw and to be so incredibly, what I felt was negative, because I couldn't show that side of me to anybody else. I didn't want to bring anybody down. I didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. And I love them because they didn't feel sorry for me. They understood that I was going through what I was going through, and they were going through what they were going through. And in a way, it was the same, but their reasons were completely different. So it's just been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. So today I sit here and tell you how grateful I am that I did go blind. I am legally blind, and but I'm grateful for this. I became an artist, and I don't know what anybody else sees. I get a lot of compliments, but what I see, when I look at my work, I love it so much. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and so I became an artist after I lost my vision, and I became real. I want to share me with the world, and nothing else, and nobody else, and nobody else's opinion of me matters anymore at all. And nobody has to agree with me. Nobody has to love me. Nobody has to do anything in regards to my existence. I finally am in love with myself, and I'm really, really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying not having to look outside of me for approval or anything else. Like, I can't imagine feeling this from anything outside of me. The only thing that I do feel but I feel that it comes from me when I do look out in nature, what I see reflected back to me. I do feel love. I do feel like complete and whole. And I think that is more valuable than anything I ever thought I could get from anything outside of me. It's just that connection and that wholeness and oneness. And anyway, I think Terry, the homeless man on the train, Tery, he said he spelled it the hippie way. I thank him for showing up the way he did and for helping me without expecting anything in return. Because I received the gift that I feel I came in this world to receive. And I am so excited about living the rest of my life fully and completely every day, not waiting till tomorrow to do something, or not waiting till I have something else in order to be able to do anything else, not waiting for the money, not waiting for, to lose the weight or to get my eyesight back or anything else. I thank God for this moment right now, which is the only thing that exists. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. And I love you all. I see you.